Hello everybody, it's the Linkzilla here. Hope you're all having a great day. I'd like to start out this video by apologizing because this video was actually a long time coming. It's been almost more than a month since my last Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom discussion video, and that's ultimately because a lot of things kept getting in the way with between my job and taking a trip about a week ago, and also wanting to wait for more anti-Fallen Kingdom videos to be released upon YouTube so I would have an accurate idea of what I'm actually up against. I just didn't have the motivation or free time to do it, but we're finally back with this video, and it has been a long time coming. My previous video was about addressing the controversy of the criticism about how Isla Nublar is suddenly retconned into being a volcanic island, and the absolute ridiculousness of that criticism, completely debunking it using evidence from the franchise. And it was actually during the crafting for that video that I had this suddenly mind-blowing revelation. The point of this video is to hopefully inspire a discussion on whether or not Mount Sibo's eruption on Isla Nublar could have been prevented. To address the criticism one last time, the movie establishes that Sibo had only recently come out of dormancy after what could have been centuries of existing in a dormant state. At the time, nearly 30 years ago, Hammond felt the island suited his needs and thought it was perfectly safe due to its dormant state. However, just because it's safe today doesn't mean it'll be safe tomorrow. It's basically the idea behind the franchise. People are making decisions without considering the consequences or full ramifications. They only see the immediate without thinking ahead. But then again, there's no way to predict if the volcano would become active in 1 year, 30 years, or even a few hundred years from now. It harkens back to the unpredictability of nature, which is another theme of the film. But while I was at work thinking about how to craft the previous video, I was going over all the evidence in my mind when I came to Jurassic Park, the game, by Telltale. During episode 3, The Depths, our protagonists discover that there is a problem with the island's geothermal power plant. The ventilation system is no longer functioning, and the steam produced by the plant has nowhere to escape to, meaning that the pressure will build until it explodes. And according to Dr. Sorkin, when the power plant explodes, it will literally take half the island with it.
That's not our problem.
When the power plant explodes, it will be.
It's that bad?
Uh-oh.
Everything I've read about the system says it's supposed to shut itself down if something goes wrong with the steam pressure. The fact that it hasn't means that the pressure will build unchecked. It'll pop like a balloon and take half the island with it.
Holy shit. The characters then try to discover a method for venting the pressurized steam built up in the system to prevent the explosion before closing the vents and turning the power back on. According to Sorkin, the system is designed to shut itself off and reset should there be a pressure buildup problem. But as we see from the events of the game, without humans present to maintain the system, it's only a matter of time until the system crashes completely and the pressure would build uncontrollably. So taking that into consideration, my theory is, what if Mount Sibo's eruption was not caused by the volcano coming back to life on its own, but instead by the pressure built up in the island's geothermal power plant? As we've established, the park and all InGen facilities on the island are powered by geothermal. We have no reason to believe that Jurassic World was not powered by the same. If anything, it probably is still the same power plant that used to power Jurassic Park, only repurposed to now power Jurassic World. I would imagine that with more updated technology that the system in Jurassic World's power plant could regulate itself when problems arose. However, during the 3 years that the park was left abandoned, it would only be a matter of time before the system eventually began to deteriorate and could no longer shut itself off to regulate the problems without human interference. So inevitably the pressure would build until it became too much, and then eventually it would pop. But all of this seemed like idle and harmless speculation anyway, right? I mean, it's not like when they abandoned Jurassic World, they left the power plant running for this to inevitably build in pressure until it exploded, right? And then I had the sudden realization. Throughout the entirety of the Jurassic World movie, the power in the park never once goes out. The systems all over the park are still in effect, even up to the climax of the film. The electricity is still flowing, which means it's still being generated by the island's thermal power plant. During the final scene on the island, Lowry turns off the power in the control room, but as you can see throughout other areas of the park, the lights are still on. Literally speaking, he turns off the power in the control room, but that doesn't mean that the power plant is suddenly going to stop generating electricity. When we land on the island in Fallen Kingdom 3 years later, even as early as the prologue, the park's power is still being generated as the mercenaries are able to tap into the Mosasaur pen controls. And then when Claire and her team land on the island, we see that the park's electrical systems still work as they're able to open doors and tap into the park's animal tracking system. So effectively, during the evacuation and abandonment of Jurassic World 3 years ago, no one ever actually shut the power plant off, and ever since, the plant has continuously been generating more and more power without anyone to provide maintenance should the system break down or deteriorate. And my eyes went wide with the sudden realization that all of this could have potentially been prevented. The pressure remaining trapped in the system built until it was too much, looking for a way to escape its confines, most likely escaping out of the crater atop of Mount Sibo. The increased heat and the pressure reawakened the volcanic activity, bringing Sibo out of dormancy. The resulting power plant explosion brought Sibo back to life, unleashing the full force of destructive volcanic power to flow freely across the island, resulting in Isla Nublar's destruction, as well as nearly causing the second extinction of the dinosaurs. And there you have it. While mostly speculative, my theory would suggest that had the power plant on Isla Nublar been completely shut down, that it might have been possible to prevent Mount Sibo's eruption, at least for the foreseeable future. I gotta say, guys, I had a lot of fun making this theory to share with you guys. I'm not gonna lie, when I first thought of this theory back at work after seeing the movie, I thought that it was a truly jaw-dropping revelation, and it made me a bit sad at the end. Not necessarily because of knowing, or at least having an idea, that Jurassic Park, Isla Nublar itself could have been saved, but more so from having to admit that Dr. Laura Sorkin may have been right. And anyone who watched my playthroughs of Jurassic Park the game knows why that is a very bad thing, and a particularly tough pill to swallow. Laura was consistently wrong about most things throughout that game, so the idea that there was something that she was actually right about is unsettling, to say the least. So what do you guys think? Do you think that InGen's meddling and poor handling of their abandoned equipment led to Isla Nublar to a premature death? Or do you think that this eruption we saw was the inevitability that was bound to happen due to the unpredictable nature of volcanoes? I'd love to know what you guys think and engage in discussion down in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video and want to engage in more discussion, please leave a comment and be sure to like it and share it with your friends. If you want to keep up to date with more Jurassic Park related content coming from me in the future, then be sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the bell. And remember, don't let the vocal minorities drown out your opinions with their loud negativity. Be just as loud to counter them. Let them hear you roar. Have a great day.